Hey guys, what's going on? So this is going to be a different type of video than I normally post. You can actually see my face for once, and I can capture my monitor so I can actually show you and talk to you kind of in real time of what's going on in a more like effective way versus having to pre-cut clips and pages of stuff like patch notes and whatnot, and have to kind of edit it that way where I can actually just show you what I'm talking about right on the screen, which I think should be a lot better and easier for me and easier for you guys to kind of comprehend. So the Taken King, I guess, reveal trailer and the video documentary got released yesterday, 2 days ago, yesterday. And if you haven't seen the video doc, the 8-minute long video, I would suggest you check that out because it's very informative and you get to see a lot more of the Taken King expansion. But I'm going to be talking about the subclass that got introduced, or that they're going to introduce in this new DLC or expansion. And it was rumored that they were going to add new subclasses, and it made sense by the when you pull up your character sheet that there was 3 boxes and only 2 were filled out, so made you believe that they were going to add a new subclass, and why wouldn't they make it the damage type that your character doesn't already have? So the first one that I'm going to be talking about here is the Titan, and they get flame or fire damage, and it's called the Sunbreaker, and then their super is called Hammer of Soul. And I thought that the Titan would get a more offensive, well, they did get an offensive subclass, and made sense because Striker is, as much as it is offense, it's very close quarter-y, and this one's more range, so it's kind of defensive as well. So you kind of expected this to happen. Now this is the, where is it? Here it is. This is the Titan clip from that documentary thing, and as you see, their super is you just bust out this hammer, and you can shoulder charge and throw the hammer. And at first, the initial reaction of when watching this was that it's basically Blade Dancer, but way better, because you can actually throw your weapon and it's not just melee. But some guy named what is it here, Son of Seth, or Seth, he posted the skill tree links, and they're not 100% like final because, well, the DLC's not out and they can change it at any time. But what did I do with it? No, it's right there. But as you see here, this is basically what they're going for with this Titan setup here. So, her subclass. So for grenades, you get the fusion grenade, which is basically a sticky grenade, same as Warlock. I don't know if it's going to be like a variation of that or if it's just actually going to be the fusion grenade, but it's a very good grenade, as most of you probably know. Match grenade is a new one, which it's very interesting, and depending on how the mechanics work, I think it would probably be the go-to grenade on this class. But the grenade explosion sends forward a burning line of fire along the ground. So I don't know if it explodes immediately or if like the grenade would bounce or what it does, but when it explodes, I'm assuming it's just going to shoot out a line of fire where, like, in the same line as like you threw it, so like the same way that the projectile is going. I don't know how it's going to work on walls, if it's just going to go straight up the wall or what's going to do, but if you throw the grenade one way, it lands and then shoots fire out. I think that's probably how it's going to work, and I think that's going to be pretty badass. And then you got Incendiary Grenade, which, not a lot of hunters use it, but it's probably one of the better hunter grenades because hunter grenades suck. So, but I can't see anyone picking that over these two. Their jumps are the exact same, nothing special. Then you got the Hammer of Soul, and I'm not too sure how this is going to work because of some of these, but basically you just summon the hammer, and then you do work. The first bubble here is the higher your health, the more hammers you can throw and bigger their impact. And I'll get back to this one in a sec, but Sun Charge is you push right trigger to hurl yourself, or maybe right trigger, or R1 is right bumper, but you hurl yourself towards your enemy and crush them, which is basically like the shoulder charge that they did. Now, considering that this is a bubble, this makes me believe that when like this Titan Super is ranged only, so you can only throw hammers, and that there's no close quarter part of it until you pick this bubble. Then it becomes both close quarter and ranged, maybe, or maybe it just goes straight to close quarter, which could be interesting too. But either way, it's still good. So basically, this makes it Blade Dancer. This makes it its own new subclass. And then Conflagration, ignite the world, creating sunspots where your hammers of soul impacts. So wherever you throw your hammer, I'm guessing a spot on the ground is just going to be burning. So it's kind of like the Warlock Solar Grenade, the one that like just kind of burns the floor. Same thing with like the Dragon's Breath, like that grenade. I'm going to assume it's in a smaller like radius, just because that'd be pretty broken if you could just chuck those grenades like nothing. But it'll be interesting to see how the subclass plays out, and then in the passives too, kind of dictate which one you want to pick, which we'll get into here in a sec. And then we go into their melee, which your melee basically ignites enemies on fire. The first bubble here is you burn away your target's defenses, and target takes more damage from both you and your allies. Now, I don't know if that actually just takes away their shield. For instance, in PvP, their shield just immediately goes away, which I guess it would anyways. That's what melees do. But the target takes more damage from all types of, from like all sources. So like it can be you, it can be your teammates, maybe even like the AI, just random friendly fire that they get. That's pretty good. Then we got your Sunstrike melee releases a solar explosion on hit, igniting enemies within the blast. Kills create a sunspot around you. Now, this one is interesting and probably going to be the go-to pick. Maybe Stoke the Forge might be, but really all three of these are really good. But this one's interesting because when you hit someone, a burst goes around them. Probably not that good for PvP, but for PvE, if there's like a pack of thrall coming at you, you punch one, it blows up and then ignites all the other ones around it, which does a lot of damage. But then if you kill it, it creates a sunspot, which I'm assuming the sunspot is AoE, constant damage from Conflagration that you see here. So, and that's around you. So you can keep moving and you're just constantly dealing damage around like any enemies that are around you, plus all the enemies that are around you when you punch the guy are being burned, so it's like a double burn, assuming that it stacks. So it's a lot of damage that can come out of this one. And then Stoke the Forge, natively reduce the cooldown of your Sunstrike melee, so just the cooldown gets reduced. And then getting a killing blow with Sunstrike instantly recharges it. So depending on how fast the cooldown is, like if it's like fast twitch for hunters, then there's almost no need for the second part of this. But that's just a good one if you want your melee to come up. Probably pretty good for PvP, I would say. That's probably your go-to pick. Then you have your stat modifier column, both of them here, which clearly haven't been released, or maybe it's just hard to do on this thing, but you get the point. It'd probably increase your toughness. Actually, it might be agility for this class, but probably toughness and recovery. Then we got Fleet Fire here for your first set of passives. Enemies brought down by your fire grant you bonus agility and reload speed for a short time, stacks up to 3 times. I don't think that's going to be that useful, because what are the odds that you're killing someone from fire? Maybe during your super it could be good, because then you can just keep moving faster, but other than that, I don't see that being a good pick. But I see where they're coming from for that. Tempering, grenade and melee abilities cool down significantly, or yeah, they cool down faster when the Hammer of Soul is fully charged. So when your super bar is full and you can use it, it becomes a question of, do I pop my super now, or do I keep playing and just throw my grenades and keep punching stuff, because they just keep coming up faster and faster. So it's a pretty cool mechanic, and just could change how people play. Then for the last passive in this column, you get a Hammer of Soul lasts longer, and you gain an overshield when standing near a sunspot. So this last passive here would kind of make you want to use Conflagration, because the Hammer of Soul lasts longer, and then you gain an overshield when standing near a sunspot. So when you kill, would it be this one? Yeah. So when you kill, the impacts of your hammers are gonna spawn sunspots, so you're gonna get an overshield from that. So you can just kind of, if you're getting shot, you can almost throw the hammer on the ground, and it would create a sunspot right in front of you, which would then give you an overshield. Depending on how that overshield works, could be very, very strong, or if it has to charge, and if you get damage, it stops the charging, like how health recovery works. That might not be that good, but at least your super lasts longer. And then if you're using the second melee option here, when you kill an enemy, you get a sunspot around you, which would mean you are near a sunspot, and you would get an overshield constantly until it runs out. So some synergy between these three right here. And then for the last column here, passive set. Flame Seeker, your Hammer of Soul will alter its flight path to seek out enemies, so it just gets tracking, which is very nice, depending on how the hitboxes work anyways. Like if the hitboxes and the hammers are really easy to hit, then probably no need, but tracking's always nice. Enemies brought down by your fire regenerate your health. This one has that fire thing again, same thing with, what was it, Fleet Fire. I don't know how often you're going to kill things with fire, but getting health regen is always nice. But Cauterize also has synergy with High Noon, which the higher your health, the more hammers you can throw, and the bigger their impact. So assuming the bigger their impact means that they do more damage, then when you're at higher health, you do more damage, not only in each throw, but the fact that you can throw your hammers faster that deal more damage because you're at higher health means you can throw more hammers faster, and it just all kind of cycles. So that could be some good synergy there. And then Wildfire, enemies brought down by your hammer explode, damaging and catching over nearby enemies on fire. I mean, it's kind of like the Voidwalker, where if any of their abilities kill something, they explode. Not really that useful, but that's the Titan Striker for you, or the Titan Sunbreaker, I should say. Pretty pleased with how this one's going, and probably going to be the go-to subclass for a lot of people. And it just looks like a lot of fun.